What's up, guys? Welcome back to this week's vlog. We're here today at Cali Creaming Fresno. This is an event thrown by Fitment Industries and Liqui Moly. I came here I think 2 years ago and the show was all right, but since then I've heard that the show has actually gotten a bit bigger. And I mean, I'm in the parking lot right now and it looks like there's a pretty big turnout. So we're gonna go ahead and walk in and see what cool cars we can find, and I'll go ahead and show you guys some of my favorite cars from the show. Also, this is gonna be our first car show of the year, so hopefully the cars are good. I mean, the cars were good last time I came, so we'll see what they have today. All right, so we're kicking it off with this Nissan 240SX in white right here. I do not know what body kit this is, but obviously this 240 stands out on work VSKFs. You can never go wrong with VSKFs. I think they look good. They're not really my cup of tea, but they definitely aren't ugly. Not a bad 240SX. And then right next to it was another one. This one was a hatchback with a nice purple wrap on it on Workmeister S1s. Very deep Workmeister S1s, which I actually prefer. I don't like when people have Meisters and they really aren't like all that deep. They're kind of just like regular flat looking rims. But anyways, this car was really nice. It looks like it had an SR in it. I'm not sure what mods it has. I didn't really look at it all that much. And then next was this Toyota 86. Not sure what motor this is, but I would assume it's something from Toyota. It was on some pretty nice Watanabes. I don't know if they're real, genuine Watanabe rims or Watanabe reps, but either way, they look nice. Interior was pretty cool. The only thing I didn't really like about this car was like the color of the paint. That's pretty much the only thing I'd change on this car. But it was a nice 86 nonetheless. Now here we have a Ford Probe, and I decided to film this car because of how rare and unique I think it is. I don't even necessarily like the look of the car, but just the fact that it was like it's a rare car that you don't come across all that often, and plus it was on some nice centerline rims, which is a nice touch to it. But yeah, Ford Probe, you don't really see those all that much. Next up, I had to get a couple shots of this Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution right here. I didn't really look at the engine bay all too much, but the car was really nice. My favorite thing about this one right here was probably the paint. At least I think it's paint. It might have been a wrap, but either ways that color is really pretty. It's like a really sparkly purple. I think the wing in the back was a little bit overkill for me, but it's still a nice car nonetheless. And then there was another one right next to it with the same APR wing in a nice white color, and I definitely prefer this one over the purple one. I feel like it's a lot more simple and it has a couple nice touches to it, and I really like the white. I think the plain white paint is more my taste, but both really cool Evos. Next was a car that I decided to film because for some reason I felt like it reminded me of like a Buick Regal GNX, and I don't think I've ever seen a Toyota like this one. I believe it was a Corolla GTS, but like I said, again, it sort of, the look of the car sort of reminded me of like a Buick Regal for some reason. But yeah, it turns out it was a Celica GTS. Pretty cool car. Next was this Hellcat on slicks. It's a wide body Hellcat in white. I've actually always been a big fan of the Dodge Challenger, even before they came out with the Hellcats. But yeah, I'm not too big on the whole wide body thing, but this one I think pulls off the look really nice, and the slicks in the back are a nice touch. Next is this New Edge Mustang. I decided to film this New Edge Mustang because I think it was really the only New Edge in the entire show, and it kind of reminded me of my own New Edge. I think I have the same paint color as this one right here, and if it isn't the same, it's almost identical. But yeah, this one had a couple nice touches to it. It was a Mustang GT, not too bad. Next was another Mustang on slicks as well. I don't know what you guys would call them. I call them slicks. Some people call them beadlocks. I mean, same shit. There I am looking at myself, or waving at myself in the mirror. And then up here in the front, this is where all the cool stuff was at. It looks like this Mustang, or this 5.0 here, is twin turboed, which is pretty insane. That's something you don't see all too much. At least I don't see it all that often. Most of the 5.0 Stangs are pretty much stock, at least the ones I've seen. And right here, this was probably my most favorite Mustang in the entire show. I don't know what color or what paint color this is right here. I think it might be Ford Vista Blue, but honestly it looks a little bit too bright to be Ford Vista Blue. Either ways, this Mustang was absolutely beautiful, and the paint was absolutely amazing, as you guys can see. If you guys know what color this is, please let me know down in the comments, because it's really pretty. Next was this C5 Z06 Corvette. Pretty much in its stock form. I don't think it really had much aftermarket parts on it. Nice and taken care of in the interior, no tears or nothing. And then in the back it had like some aftermarket taillights, which I think might have been like the only mod on this Corvette, but it was really nice. Then we have another Corvette, but this one here is the new C8, of course, with a nice paint scheme. I don't like the super crazy colors on these C8s. I think the car already looks crazy enough as it is, and then when you like choose a color combination that's like over the top, I just don't like it. But this one looks pretty nice, plain white color, red accents, pretty cool. Next was this Nissan Z32 300ZX with a KBD front bumper. At least I believe that's a KBD front bumper on Meister S1s. You're going to see that a lot of cars in this video are Meister S1s. I guess that's just how popular that rim is. Next was this absolutely beautiful Porsche right here. I'm not too big on Porsches, so I don't know what model this was. I would assume it's like a 911 or something like that. But either ways, the color was really pretty. My favorite thing about this one was probably the rims. And again, I'm not a big Porsche guy, but this car was really nice. Next was a Lamborghini Aventador Liberty Walk, I believe. This car was a bit too over the top for me, and I didn't really like the color of the car, but at the end of the day, it's still a Lamborghini, so I decided to film it anyway. Then right here, we had like a Bose Zoku, I would assume, R32. I don't know what kit this is. I mean, it has a Liberty Walk sticker, so I guess it's a Liberty Walk R32. I'm not too big on this style of body kits right here, but it was still cool to see nonetheless. Then we had a Lamborghini Huracan right here. I found it funny that whoever owns this car put like a barrier around it, I guess so people don't touch the car. But honestly, I wouldn't touch this thing with a 10-foot pole. This car is absolutely horrendous. Then we had this A90 Supra in a nice lavender color. I wasn't really a big fan of the rims on this car, but I did like the color. And I usually try to film the cars that have like the prettiest paint. So yeah, Pandem kit A90, not too bad. The only thing I would change is the rims. Then we had this Nissan 350Z in red. I could have sworn I've seen this car somewhere else before, but I can't remember where. But I know I've seen this car at least once before somewhere. Anyways, this Z had a wide body kit on VSKFs. I would assume that this is a wrap and not paint. Carbon fiber hood. Not really my taste, but still a cool car nonetheless. Then right here we had a car that is more of my taste. We had this red Honda Integra with the JDM front end. I'm not sure what rims those were, but it looks like they are TE37s. I thought they were Graham Lights 5070Rs for a second, but it looks like they were TEs in white. Immaculate interior, and overall just a really nice Integra. Then right here we had a C6 Corvette. There was actually a good handful of C6 Corvettes in the show. This C6 right here wasn't really anything special, but I thought it did look good, and I really liked the front bumper and the lip that this car had. Then right here we had this Subaru WRX, and I'm really not that big of a Subaru guy, but I do have to recognize that this car does look really good. I think everything comes together really nicely on this car, the color of the paint, the rims, and even the APR wing in the back. Then here we have this mint green Nissan R34, or I don't know what you would even call that color, but it reminds me of like a minty kind of greenish kind of color if you were to ask me. Not the biggest fan of the color on this car, but I mean it's still an R34 at the end of the day, so it's still pretty cool to see. And here I wanted to show you guys just how many stance cars were actually in the show. Here you can see here that we have, I mean, just stance cars as far as the eye can see, right? BMW, G35, stanced out, Q50, stanced out. That white BMW right there was like the only car in the showroom that wasn't stanced out. There we have another stanced out Civic. So I think it was a little overkill with all the stance cars. But anyways, here in this next clip, we have two R33 GTRs. I couldn't get up close for these two because the photographers were taking their pictures and I didn't want to disrupt them. Then here we have this Mercedes. I don't know what model this is, but I decided to film it because lately I've been getting more and more into Mercedes vehicles. All I know is that this car looked really good, and I know that it was on some really, really nice 4G Auto rims. If I could trade my Mercedes for this one right here, I think I might actually do it because this thing looked really nice. I really dig the whole murdered out black look on this car. Then we had another Mercedes right here. This one is a W204 Mercedes just like mine. However, mine is a two-door coupe, and this was of course the more common four-door. I wasn't a super big fan of this car. I don't really dig the modifications on this one if I'm being honest, but I decided to film it because it was the only 204 in the show. Next up, we had this stanced out C5 Corvette. If I had a C5 Corvette, which I almost did buy one, but if I had one, I don't think I would customize it this way, but I mean, to each their own. Either ways, the yellow was pretty nice and the car was pretty good. Next, we had this black Nissan 350Z with a very cool wing on the back. I don't know what wing that is, but I think it looks really nice. And this car wasn't really all that stanced out. It was on deep dish Meister S1s, but this car really wasn't all that overkill like the other ones. Next, we had this Nissan, or sorry, not Nissan, I'm tripping. This is a Infiniti G37. This is what I would call a copy and paste build right here. I feel like, see, there was another one right next to it. Like I'm saying, they're copy and paste builds. People just do the same stuff. Bags, VSKFs, carbon fiber hood. And lastly, we had this black Chevrolet Camaro on bags. I feel like everyone just goes on bags nowadays, so I guess that's the thing to do right now. But yeah, not a bad looking car. I'm really not a big Camaro fan, but this one was pretty nice. All right, so what do I think about the show? Well, for one, it's hot as balls. One thing I didn't like is all the stance cars. I feel like a lot of these people are still stuck in 2018. Like, I remember going to WeekFest Los Angeles back in 2019, and pretty much the whole show was stance cars. And this show actually really reminded me of WeekFest 2019. And I'm not saying that stance cars are necessarily ugly, but I feel like it's gotten to a point now where it's so overdone, to the point where it gets boring and repetitive seeing stance car after stance car at almost every single car show. There's definitely a ton of cars. It was a very big turnout. I mean, I'm still in the parking lot here. I mean, this thing is packed. I struggled to even find a spot. And compared to when I came 2 years ago, the show has definitely gotten better. Last time when I came, they only used one indoor area for like the fanciest and the nicest show cars. Today they used all 4 indoor areas for all kinds of show cars. So the show has definitely grown. If I could change one thing about the show, the only one thing I would change is less stance cars. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this week's video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Next week's video is most likely going to be on the new Edge Mustang drift car, so stay tuned for that. I'll see you guys in the next one, and catch you later.